waiting for the YouTube to go live. Great, it did. So, hello, my lovely people. Welcome to this live, and welcome to this topic: how to develop your intuition. Why we actually disconnect from it. Why we need to work right now to develop it. If we are born with it, and it's our natural ability to listen to our hearts. So what happens? Why it happens that we need to learn it again, to relearn it, to practice it again, to listen to our heart, to learn how to go back. You see, like you were born with knowing what to do, having that incredible intuition and being able to just kind of grow it, right? Grow it, expand it. Somehow, sometimes things happen in our life that we decide like, oh, I'm not going to use it. Or if I use it, it can lead to something painful, uncomfortable, or I can be punished for it. So punishment is the biggest root cause of why we decide as children not to listen to our intuition. Today, what we will talk about is to how to differentiate your intuition and logic. Very often, clients come to me and they say that I used my intuition. I listened to my heart, but it turned out to be ugly. It turned out to be horrible. Like it didn't work out well. And I don't understand why. Very often we confuse logic and intuition. These are different things, right? And I'll explain why we confuse it. As a child, you are born, as I said, with intuition, with this feeling. I don't know, refer it to anything like gut feeling. Some people feel it in their gut. Some people feel it in their heart. Some people feel it in their mind. Like there is no wrong or right here. Everyone will tell you different or something that feels good or right for them. So it will be different for everyone where you feel this intuition, the sixth sense, right? So when you're born, you're naturally very connected to it. You know, right? You look at the child and you can absolutely say that they are acting based on their like desires, abundance, right? They are they see people. Have you noticed like the children, they see people for who they are, right? They can absolutely tell the fake from real, right? The artificial feelings from real feelings. They can do that. So we all were able to do that very naturally. But at the same time, we grow up in families that, while they love us unconditionally, they want us to use logic, because when we grow up, very often we disconnect from the intuition. We kind of stop listening to it, and we go completely into our head, like logic, and that's all that matters. When that happens, right, we expect for younger generations, if we have kids, for example, to also use their logic, because we use it and it's kind of good. So I will make my child to use it again. So as well. And then we notice these situations when the child wants to do something, they have inner desires, you as a child, right, probably had that inner desire, inner passion, right? Something that felt really good to you and to your soul. But our caregivers, they make us use logic. What is logic? It's all the, right or wrong belief, not a belief, but because beliefs are in the subconscious mind, but all of these standards, the frames that we see the world, it's right or wrong. And very often, by the way, it does help us. Our logic it's an incredible tool. It's an incredible tool for you to plan ahead, to budget, to analyze, to make connections. So very often we we use this logic for our benefit. So what is intuition then? Why do we need it? We can just use our logic, right? You can just use your logic and everything will be fine. But if you have noticed, either it's within yourself or maybe it's with your people around you that you notice, is that we actually feel worse. We feel worse inside when we just use our logic, because your logic is a tool, right? And where is you then? Logic is very influenced by the subconscious mind. Logic always fights was always in conflict with the subconscious mind, right? Because subconscious mind wants pleasure, immediate pleasure, right here and right now. And the logic wants, like, oh, it's right or wrong. So this is what happens when we only use logic. Sometimes people, you can notice those people that are always in their head. They disconnect themselves from emotions. They disconnect themselves from feeling, just head, like very analytical people, very analytical. That's not the bad, not at all. But at the same time, that hurts the soul. So in the long run, we usually start to feel symptoms, usually emotional pain. Emotional pain. So what is intuition? What is that? Intuition is when you know what is beneficial to you without harming other living beings. I'll explain more. Intuition is when you have the feeling what is beneficial to you, not what's good or wrong or right for you, not what's pleasurable for you. No, what is beneficial, which means that it doesn't harm anyone else and it benefits you as well. For example, let it be healthy food. Right? So you decide to go on a healthy food lifestyle, right? So you start to choose the best for yourself, right? And that will always make you feel so good. It feels like, this is good. This is what my body wants. And the mind starts to clear, you start to have more focus, more clarity, less anxiety, right? When you start to go on a healthy diet, right? Some nourishing food, right? You eliminate junk food, it's beneficial. So you have sometimes you stop suddenly eating or drinking or smoking because you know that this isn't beneficial, though it can bring you pleasure, right? The temporary, immediate pleasure, what our subconscious mind is. That's why, right? People with addictions, right? This is when the addiction is the connection in the subconscious mind. The immediate pleasure, whatever gives you immediate pleasure, this is what we will connect to. So when you tell someone, oh, stop smoking or quit smoking or stop drinking, right, or stop eating or craving junk food, there is no point in doing that until the person itself understands that that's not beneficial for them. So what does this mean, that when I said without harming other people? So intuition is something that is beneficial for you without harming other people. I had clients who will tell me that, oh, does that mean that I have to, endure abuse or pressure or, yelling because I don't want to harm them? No, that's not the same. So harming is absolutely different from hurting. So what is the difference? For example, if your parents, for example, criticize you, you're already an adult, you know what to do, you have great control and grip of your life, and then your parents call you and they start to go to those old patterns. They start to criticize you for something, maybe for going to a different job, or maybe choosing something in your life, buying a house or changing a house or moving to another province or state, right? Whatever it is, they start to criticize you. And then you, right, don't want to hurt them. or you don't want to, like, don't want to speak or to speak up for yourself. And then you don't. So you're like, oh, okay, mom, that's okay. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to do that. That means that you don't listen to your intuition, right? You are actually driven by the subconscious programming that, oh, I cannot really, I cannot say anything back, right? And then when you do say back to someone, for example, your parents, and you start to stand up for yourself and you tell your parents that, you know what, I think I'm already old enough to make these decisions for me. I'm not following your beliefs. I'm following my beliefs. Will that hurt them? Probably yes. Because when we hurt, when someone when feel hurt, it means that their ego, their ego got affected. So this is what hurt is. What does this mean? But however, in the long run, that will be beneficial for both of you. Because for you, you will stand up for yourself, and for your parents, they will think twice before criticizing you next time. So this is the difference between hurting and harming. What means harming? Harming is when we neglect or abuse our children or our partners or our friends, right? Harming means that it's a harm for the future and right now to their psyche, to their mind, to their body. Hurting means that we are touching their ego. We're touching their ego, and it hurts. Right? So when, for example, we separated from our partners, and maybe it wasn't a very good separation. It was involved a lot of conflicts and arguments and fights. And we say, he hurt me or she hurt me so much. Right? It means that it doesn't mean that it's not beneficial. It doesn't mean that it's not beneficial for you, because in the long run, maybe it's for the best. So it's not harming, right? It's not always harming. I'm not saying in all cases. For example, I'm not talking about narcissistic abuse, right? But sometimes, for example, if someone criticizes us, right, we can say that it's harming us. When we are children, yes. When we're adults, we have a choice, right? So when we are adults, when someone criticizes us, it means that we are hurt. Because that hurts. That kind of brings up something, right? Triggers us, right? So, but however, it doesn't always mean that it harms us, because we can protect ourselves when we are adults. Well, this is the difference between hurting and harming. Harming is when someone is a dependent, for example, a child, right? Or it's a person who depends on us, right? And then we harm them intentionally, right? Or unintentionally as well. So intuition is when you make decisions. When you make decisions that are beneficial to you and they don't harm, these actions, these decisions, these behaviors, they don't harm other people as well. They might hurt their ego. Yes, that's true. But they will not harm. So this is the difference, right? And very often people say, well, I do use my intuition. I think logically, I use my critical thinking. Do you really? Do you know the difference between logic and intuition? Intuition is a part of your soul, right? It's a part of your soul. It's a part of you, right? Who you are. And you use your intuition to give you what you want, especially if it's something great for you, if it's something that will benefit you. Logic usually operates by two notions: good, wrong or right. Wrong or right, right? Intuition doesn't operate by that. Intuition doesn't know social standards. Intuition doesn't know mortgages, bills. Intuition doesn't understand that. If you're thinking about that feeling that you want to use in order to make great decisions, or to resolve any issues in your life, right? I want to listen to my intuition. The intuition doesn't know that. The intuition doesn't know that someone can say something bad about you. So that's the difference. That's a big difference, because logic driven by the subconscious mind, right, will only determine what's right or wrong. according to the knowledge, that it has. It can analyze, it can connect, analyze, plan, see the consequences, right? The logic is an incredible tool, but intuition is different. So how to tell the difference? So for example, you have an offer from two jobs, right? You have an offer from two jobs. They have similar terms and conditions. Approximately the same pay, maybe a little bit better at one job and a little bit smaller at another job. You have exactly the same conditions of work. The schedule is the same, but people are different. People in the company are different, and you have that feeling. Okay, so this is the job that pays more, right? Has maybe a little bit better schedule, but the people there, doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel like a family, or doesn't feel the communication is not that good. So if you listen to your logic, you will go and pick that because, like, well, it's a good pay, it's a good schedule, it's a flexibility maybe. But when you listen to your intuition, you will go to something that will be beneficial for you. Oh, you know what? This is a little bit of a lower pay. However, is this family feeling, in the company. I want to be in that workplace, right? Because it's growth. I'll be less stressed. I'll be more fulfilled. There is a room for creativity. There is a room for communication. This is when you use your intuition, right? Intuitive thinking, right? I feel it's going to be good for me, for my growth. Because intuition always is interested in your growth, in your inner growth, what is good for your soul and, right, for your spirit. This is what it is. This is the difference. Because logic will make the decision based on, I have to pay the mortgage, I have to pay the bills. It's better this, it's better this. It's like more like, analytical thinking. Well, intuition will be like, well, that's good. You're going to feel better. You're going to be happy there. You're going to be happy at that job. So, and then you will choose based either on your logic or on your intuitive feeling, right? So this is the difference. There is a big difference. So once again, intuition doesn't know guilt. Intuition doesn't know blame. Logic knows that because it's driven by the subconscious mind, right? Logic knows. So the difference between the logic and the intuition is the intuition wants best for you without knowing all of those social standards. And the logic will switch on, saying, what will others say? What is going on? Is that the good plan? Is that the good strategy? Is that the good project, right? It's not a bad thing at all. If you combine them, if you combine your intuition and you combine your logic, that could be an incredible tool to use, right? So how to develop intuition and why do we disconnect from it? So then we have to relearn it again. What happens if you were punished for doing what you love or making the decision based on your intuition? For example, you were a child, and I'll tell you a story. I was in school. I was 12 years old, and I had that teacher that was yelling at me and calling me names. And I was enduring that, right? I was a people pleaser, so I didn't say anything. And at some point, I decided to listen to my intuition and to really speak. And you speak up, right? To protect myself, right? So I did, not in the best way. However, I did. And I felt so proud of myself. I felt incredibly proud of myself. So I was like, I jumped out of, like, I was so happy. I came home, and of course that teacher already called my parents. It was in Ukraine, so it was like older rules, right? It was 98 or 96. I don't remember, 98, I think. So 1998. And of course, the teacher already called my parents, and they already told about how rude and mean I am, and that I did an incredibly atrocious thing, that I didn't have any right to do that, and how could I, and all of that. And I was punished. I was punished for using my intuition, my inner feeling to protect myself. right? I was punished. And what did I decide to do? Couple of those things. I decided to use my intuition in different other things, and of course was punished for that because it was unreasonable or from the point of view of my caregivers. And what happened is I decided not to use it. I decided that no, I'm not going to use it. Right? So this is why we disconnect from the intuition. Is because at some point you decide that no, that's gonna be painful. I'm gonna be punished. Or I'm going to be, I'm gonna feel guilty for doing that. Maybe it's not right according to the social standards. And then we live our life. We are very strong. We have lots of inner resources, by the way, when we are young. The younger we are, the more resources we have, the more we can shut down, right? We can shut down that trauma or capsule those unprocessed moments. We can do that very easily. The mind is so brilliant, it will protect you. Whatever something emotional happened, you got punished or you got blamed or you got neglected, you got abused, right? The mind will capsule it and hide it, right? Because it's too painful to resolve it right now, to process it, or there is no point, there is no support for now. So we shut down, so we have a lot of resources. So we live our lives believing that, okay, this is how it's going to be. This is my life. And then at 35, 45, maybe even younger, maybe older, we start to feel symptoms, right? We start to feel symptoms, not even knowing where it comes from, right? Because we disconnect. We disconnect from that inner self. And sometimes we even find that question, I don't know who I am. I don't even know who I am. Who am I? Like I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know if I bring value into this world. I don't feel very good. What can you do in this case? You can come back to yourself. You can reconnect back with your intuition and you can develop it. Yes, it is not a click. Unfortunately, I know there is all of us deep inside want a very fast solution and very, very quick, decision. But unfortunately, with the intuition, we shut it down for many years. So we cannot reawaken it and feel it to the fullest potential right away, and even not in a week and not in a month. But you can start that journey at any point in your life, at any age. So how can you develop your intuition, reconnect to it back and feel good? So step number 1, what you do is you ask yourself the right questions. What do you ask yourself? For example, do I want this? For example, you want to make a decision and you want to listen to your intuition. What do? You ask yourself the right questions. Am I doing it to benefit my soul? Or am I doing it to please someone? Or maybe I'm afraid that someone will say something. Or maybe there are so many expectations that I need to meet them. I have to be perfect, or I have to neglect my need and care for someone. Whatever role we take on in our life, right? Ask yourself, is it beneficial to you? I had clients who come to me and they are in the narcissistic relationship, right? And they tell me, Kate, deep down, I know I cannot change that person. I know I need to leave that person. I need to separate. I need to run away as far as I can, right? I know it's good for me. I know that in the end, it's going to be so beneficial for me and for my mental health and for my psyche. But somehow the fear of loneliness, the fear of abandonment, the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of change, unknown, and future is so strong that I cannot make that decision. So this is where the logic, subconscious mind, is fighting with the intuition, right? So the intuition says, yes, leave them, go, find, choose yourself. And then the logic and the subconscious minds are very strong. So it's like, no, think about the future and the old patterns. And we have all of that, like it's a ball. So ask yourself the right questions. Are you doing it for yourself and for the benefit of you and everyone and all the living creatures? Or you are doing it to please someone. Or maybe you're afraid, for something, and then you make that decision. Any decision that is made out of fear, right? Very, very often is not from intuition. And 99% it's not from intuition. So any decision that you make out of fear, yes, unfortunately, this is going to be not from your intuition. So ask yourself that question every time, anytime, anything, right? Should I eat this or this? You go to the store, you go to the grocery store, and you want to, I want to develop that intuitive, eating, for example, right? It's very easy. Ask yourself what is good for your body and mind. You will know exactly. You will know exactly what you need to choose. But then the subconscious mind switches on. The subconscious mind switches on. It's like, no, 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 no. Look at those donuts. They feel so good, You can definitely savor them. Oh, they feel so good. They're gonna soothe your pain. So this is right. So if you want to develop the intuition, ask yourself one question: is it beneficial for your mind and soul, or is it just a people pleasing or whatever strategy we take on? Number two, right? Stop seeing intuition as something that is like only available to someone else. Oh, it's like, it's these people, the spiritual people, yeah, they can do that. I cannot do that. It's too hard. Yeah, so start seeing intuition as a part of you. It's with you all the time, every single time, right? So it's with you. It's part of you, part of your soul. By the way, it's something that it's a part of your soul. So intuition is like that. Start seeing that. Start saying to yourself, this is part of me. Like, I cannot lose it. I can shut it down, but I cannot lose it. Step number three, find out where did you decide to shut down the intuition. This is very important. Every single client that comes to me usually is confused because they don't know where it's coming from. And they get triggered in so many ways. And trust me, the mind has unlimited potential to give you symptoms, right? Panic attacks, anxiety, fears, phobias, right? All of these unexplained, ruminated, intrusive, catastrophizing thoughts. The mind has unlimited toolbox to bring you suffering. Trust me. If you don't bring it to the surface and you uncover what is this, right? For example, in my RTT session, I usually go with the client. We're going on a journey, finding out, so that there is a big understanding. The client says, if only I knew that 20 years ago or 15 years ago, if only I could meet you, if only I met you 5 years ago or 8 or 15 years ago when I first started having those symptoms, I could have, created such a beautiful life already. But it's not about blaming ourselves, right? It's everything comes at the right time and at the right place. So in the RTT session, I usually go with the clients to uncover when, how, and where. At what moments did we decide to shut down, to betray ourselves, right? It's to start to be run by subconscious mind and other people's opinions and standards and requirements and expectations and our inner and our desires that only want to satisfy us not right now and right here. I already said that in many of my lives that subconscious mind only wants pleasure. It doesn't understand the future, doesn't understand if it's beneficial for you or not. It wants to save you right now, right here, with any tool it has. And if that tool is alcohol, it will be alcohol. If that tool is binging, that will be binging. If that tool is anger, it will be anger until you bring it to the surface, until you find out what it is, when, and why you disconnected from yourself and started to come up with these symptoms. So please, this is the step number 3, finding out. There are so many ways, right? So RTT, for example, hypnotherapy is my favorite tool. I have a lot of tools in my toolbox, right? But this one covers it all, right? because it uncovers the root cause and it just gives you this opportunity to reprogram your mind. Number 4, inner changes. So developing intuition is not possible without inner work. And it's not about doing 3 hours meditations. No. Sometimes people say, oh, inner work, this is so hard. This is like consistency. Yes, it's true. Inner changes is a practice. So inner work is at least 5-10 minutes a day going inwards for many, many years. Right? So for many, many years. Could be longer. You could use faster, more rapid ways for sure. My students in my course, right? They do it in 18 days, in 18 classes, right? And inner meditations specifically tailored for the issue. They do it in 3 weeks, right? So there are rapid ways to develop, to reawaken your intuition. And there are longer ways. And it's up to you. Maybe you want, every day for a year, right? To do some inner work, right? To listen to yourself. Or maybe you want 3 weeks, right? Just like my students at my course, 3 weeks, right? And then they reconnect with themselves. They feel so much better. They feel like, okay, I know where I am and I know what I want and I'm going after that. So it's up to you, always up to you. If you want some links, if you want to help, the links are in my description. So you're welcome. Either it's on YouTube or on Instagram, please. If you need help, there is always help. There's always so many resources. When I seek some resources for myself, I think from the place of abundance. There's like abundance of ways to find the answer and to find what I'm looking for. And I always find it. So, and I know that you can find it too. Developing intuition means going back into the flow. It's like moving you back, and any pain, any mental health problem, any emotional pain or physical pain is when we go outside of the flow. And developing intuition, right? Listening to your heart, to your soul, it's like coming back, centering. You know how many people say, I want to feel grounded. I want to feel centered. I want to feel aligned with myself. There are so many beautiful words, by the way, that describe that one simple thing, being yourself. So I hope that this life was really valuable for you, because I've covered so many things, and I'm sure that you will find so much interesting insights just by listening to this life. If you need help, I'm always there. I'm here. I'm very active on all social media. I have a YouTube channel. Watch any of my videos. They will bring you more understanding of who you are and why you feel pain of any kind. So, love you all. Feel centered, feel grounded. It's available to you. For some, it will come easier. For some people, you need a little practice. And some people might need some guidance. And there are so many people in this world who do spread the kind words, the kindness and the healing. And you can always find it. Because it's available to you and because you deserve it. I love you all. Be healthy, emotionally and physically. Bye.